Hi, I'm Dr. Mark, and I'm a voice teacher and stage director. Whether you're a professional pop or rock star that's wanting to take your performance to a next level, or you're just interested in making your car singing or shower singing easier and more comfortable and fun, I can help you get there. I'll start doing that today by reacting to and teaching you singing and performing tips that we can learn from the top performers around the world. Let's learn from Dimash performing Ogni Pietra at the Second European Games in Minsk. Here we go. So we're kind of getting our baritone Dimash here, and we've heard this other times. It's this warmer, richer sound, especially in this lower range, this lower register. What is it that's making this unique sound? Well, part of what's making this unique sound is you'll notice it's much taller. Not just here in front, but in back. It's more of that type of shape. If I had to choose one of those ones, I'd probably choose the type of shape. That's what's giving us that warmer, richer sound. The consistent vibrato is also contributing to making it sound more operatic. It's not just warm in back, but he's also keeping the stretch forward. And when I'm saying stretch forward, what I mean is when we get this open space in back, we feel like we're really at this 80% of a yawn that's really tall. At the same time, it also feels like we're stretching forward, like we're trying to open these sinuses, like we are lifting our cheeks away from our nose and our face and trying to open that space. Is that really what's happening? No. But when we're thinking that way, that's what that feeling of stretch feels like. So it feels like we're stretching back, and it also feels like we're stretching forward. What that does is it opens that resonant space. That very bottom section, if you look at a spectrograph, is going to be really rich. It's going to be really vibrant. Then we're going to lose a lot of sound there in the middle. And then we're going to hit another really strong set of frequencies up in the singer's formant. This is what's going to give us this operatic sound. And it makes it so it sounds really rich, but it's got the brightness and ping to carry. You'll notice he's also singing with this lowered larynx here, which is also opening up place and contributing to that darker, warmer, richer sound. Those type of vowels are also engaging the thyroarytenoid muscles. The thyroarytenoid muscles are responsible for making those vocal folds thicker, in making the lower sounds and making the richer, more meaty sounds. And so by engaging those, by using vowels that encourage that kind of engagement and use those muscles, he's really making these lower notes beefy and really sound like a nice, rich operatic baritone. Okay, it's really rich, especially in this section. He's making it really kind of bass baritone-y type of sound. Try it. What I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you try to pull this sound as far back as possible. But what I don't want you to do is just swallow it. Far back as possible. I don't want you to make it breathy. I want you to still keep it speech-like. It's going to feel like we're making the priority, making it rich and in the back, but we're keeping this forward stretch at the same time. So what I want you to feel like is if these are our fingers, and this is just our normal speaking, that this finger is going to rotate back And what it's going to do, it's going to feel like it's running along the top ridge of our mouth to our soft palate, and behind it's like it's stretching. Obviously, we're not putting it in our mouth. This is just a way of thinking about how to get that stretch, but this is going to help us feel like we're stretching back. But this one is also stretching forward. It's just a representation that's going to help our body understand what sound we're wanting it to make. So the darker and richer we want it, the more we're going to prioritize this stretch back. But it also means we're going to have to stretch further forward to balance it. Otherwise, it's just going to fall straight back. And it's going to sound swallowed, and it's not going to have the clarity of sound. It's just going to sound kind of woofy. Okay, you'll notice as he kept that and that heavier placement, that further back placement, as he started going up towards probably a D, E flat, E, it sounded like it was going to hit its top. It started sounding a little strained. It sounded starting a little too heavy. It sounded starting like he wouldn't be able to get any higher than that. Now, this is a sign of brilliance here, because he could do it in that phrase. That was the top of that phrase. Then in the phrase we just heard, where he had to go above it, you'll notice he started in that place, but then as he got up towards that position, he went back towards this ass shape and back. He got rid of the heaviness in back, and he let it get nice and lean, narrow, bright, and forward, which let him go right smoothly through that passaggio and get into that higher range. Awesome. So brilliant. He perfectly demonstrates here the idea of thinking about the end, thinking about the highest note you have in a phrase, and making sure that you're setting up your vocal mechanism to succeed there and to be able to hit that note. The same is true as if we have a really low note in a phrase that's going to cause us to work harder and get a certain sound. Maybe the better way of saying it is we have to plan for the extremes of any phrase that we're singing. Okay, now he's up in this higher range, and he's going back to this warmer, richer, further back placement that has more of that shape in back. What he's doing is he's putting that shape in back. He's also pulling kind of that forward, bright, buzzy feeling further back. He's also allowing the breath flow to take predominance a little bit here, meaning it's a little bit on the aspirate side, and consequently we get this more hooty sound, this more kind of open in back. It kind of gives us a more grandiose sound, which for this really kind of epic song, this epic moment, it works really well. Love it. So finally we get to see his face, so we get to see what's going on with his mouth, and it's exactly what we'd expect. See this, it's just this nice, open, tall space, which is giving us this warmer, richer operatic sound. As opposed to other times when he sings in this higher register, it's da da da, it's a difference. Ah. want to pull your attention to it again. The other thing that's making it sound really operatic is the consistent vibrato here. You'll notice it's not like other times when he's singing his higher register and we get this straight tone or vibrato once in a while. It's vibrato all the time, and it's really, really consistent, which gives us this operatic sound. Good or bad? No, just style. It's a style that's appropriate to this moment, appropriate to the song, appropriate to the situation, kind of gets us a certain emotion, a certain sense of grandiose and official and formal. It's a lot less intimate, and it's really well suited for this huge stadium. Love it. Really rich, gorgeous high note there. You'll notice there had to be more ass space in that as he went higher and higher and higher to allow him to get there. But we still had more chiaroscuro in it than when he kind of sings those higher notes in a more pop style. So he kept the ass space, but he also kept the It's kind of both together. To me, the way I picture this is I picture the it feels like this flat box here between my fingers, right? If I picture in it's kind of like I have this oval shape like this, but oriented this way. So it's in back. Both are stretching both ways. If I picture what they're doing right now, it's this all together. To me, it feels like there's a diamond shape. There's the tallness and there's the wideness. So if you can imagine a diamond shape where the points being here and here, connect those dots in back. That's what it feels like. It feels like it's just stretching as far wide as it can this way and tall this way. The taller it is, the more operatic, the warmer, the richer. The wider it is, the more bright. The more I can get them together, the more I get both and kind of get this chiaroscuro that we get really gorgeously here on top. One of the things I love about Dimash and when I'm listening to him is how perfectly he seems to choose the appropriate sound, the appropriate style for the moment, for the emotion, for the song, for the audience, for the entire thing. How well thought out it is. And at the same time, how smoothly he transitions between them. Love it. Okay, so the big question here to me is, if he stayed in the kind of sound production that he's making here on the bottom and tried to maintain that all the way up, would it work? No, I don't think it would. And he doesn't keep it. When he has to go up even higher into the higher register, he doesn't keep it. What is cool about that is that, think about it for you. If you like to sing and you sing with this heavier, warmer, richer sound, you're wanting it to sound beefy and big, and you're trying to get high notes, it might not be that you don't have the high notes. It might just be that you need to change how you're creating those notes and the sound that you're expecting to make so that you can allow the vocal mechanism to get those high notes. Same thing if you sing really high notes and you want beefy low notes. Is it that you don't have beefy low notes? Not necessarily. It could just be that the shape we need to make is so foreign to you and not what you're used to, and you're not aware of these different elements so that you just don't know how to get it there. It's not necessarily can you do it or not. You can. It's a matter of learning how to make that happen. And to me, that's really exciting. There's a lot about singing and performing that we like to just chalk up to either you can or you can't. You have the talent or you don't. But really, there's so much of it that can be learned. And is not just a matter of talent. It's a matter of time, spending time, having someone to help you and coach you through, and the exploration, and a whole host of other factors. To me, I spend almost every day trying to hit super high notes like some of these he's singing, because I'm often trying to sing and demonstrate for my female vocal students. And at a certain point, I just can't sing that high. Might there be some other trick out there that I am not aware of to help me sing that high? Maybe. I've sure tried a whole lot of different ones to let me get up into this area, and it's not happening. But there's always that hope. So are there limitations for the voice? Yes, there are limitations on different voice. Our physiology and what we have in our instrument, does that make a difference? Yes, it does. But there really is a lot more that can be learned and developed than I think the majority of the populace believes. What I love here with Dimash is he is almost putting all the different opera voice types right out there in front of us so we can kind of hear and see what's going on. It is so cool. It'd be fun to kind of see him sing a whole opera on his own, do a whole like quartet, sextet, octet on his own and see what that was like. I think it'd be really cool. And I think he could do it. Notice even when he has this tall O shape in back, we still have the upper two smile. My guess is if we got rid of that, it would swallow the sound and we'd have a lot less of that chiaroscuro. We'd lose some of the clarity and the brightness. By keeping that kind of lift here in the zygomatic muscles and showing those upper teeth, we're keeping some of that brightness and clarity, which is making it so it doesn't sound woofy. It's actually still a really gorgeous, clean sound.
Sensational from Dimash Ogni Pietra.
And he shows us right there that at the very top, he's keeping that diamond shape. It's an ow with an upper two smile, which again is helping us get this really clean, clear, but rich kind of operatic sound. It doesn't sound pop up there at the top because he's keeping that height here in the back in the oropharynx. If he's to collapse that and let that get just straight we lose the rich lower frequencies being so robust. It'd be a more evenly stacked harmonic series above that, which would give us this more pops-like sound. In past videos, I've expressed the interest in wondering what he'd sound like singing opera, because yes, we hear operatic sounds in other songs that he sings, but he's constantly changing and fluidly going between styles, and so it's kind of hard to really get a gauge where his voice is at all the time. Here, he's pretty much there in opera land all the time. And like I was saying before, it sounds like to me that he could sing a whole octet on his own. Like he could sing each individual part and do it really successfully. Would we hear him over an orchestra? I think so. I think the sound I'm hearing, we would. Can I say that 100% for certain? No, because I'm listening to it on a recording with a mic and I'm not there in a opera hall actually hearing him do it. But I'm pretty confident that we would hear everything from his lower range to his higher range over an orchestra in an opera hall. So then the question be, well, what voice type is he then? But what this brings up is a really interesting point, and that is, how do we choose voice type? Is it chosen just by what notes we can sing? No, actually, there are a lot of really low voices and bass baritone voices that can sing really, really high notes. Interestingly enough, countertenors often have really rich baritone voices, and baritones can usually sing really gorgeously up in that range of a countertenor. So it makes us wonder, well, why choose one over the other? Well, A, where does their voice sound best? B, where is it easiest for them to sing? If they have to sing in a certain range over a certain set of notes for long periods of time, where does it feel most comfortable? What can they sustain with a lot of energy with a lot of volume for long periods of time. One of the ways we think about this is, where does their voice speak? Meaning, a lot of times a singer can sing certain notes, but it just isn't as rich and full. It isn't as ringing. It isn't as free. And so, but then all of a sudden when we get in a particular range set of notes, their voice goes boom. It pops right out in the room and is gorgeous. So those are some factors that we use to kind of really determine voice type. In present day, do I think we over-focus on voice type? In opera land, we talk about Fach a lot, which is your specific voice type, and that means you can sing these certain operatic roles. Yeah, I think over history, we've seen that some of the great singers have sung a whole lot of different voice types and a whole lot of different roles and done it really successfully. But in a business where time is the essence and you're trying to process hundreds of people at once, it's just an effective, efficient way to narrow down your choices quickly and to help singers to be able to focus on what they do best rather than get spread too thin. But in something like this, where it's Dimash and he's all about exploring everything, it's just really fun to see what the human voice can do and what tremendous range and potential it has to make such a wide range of colors, even sticking within a basic kind of type of vocal production and musical style genre that really has this operatic feel to it, this classical voice feel. We still get so much variety that makes it so fun to listen to. Hopefully what I'm talking about makes sense. There's nothing more frustrating than watching a video, reading a book, or otherwise where people are talking about things and you aren't really sure what they mean. It's really difficult not to forget that terms that we use every day and think are normal and understandable are not used by everybody. So if there are those comments or there are things that I'm saying that you're like, wait, what does he mean specifically? Because the way I use a term might be used slightly different by someone else or whatnot, feel free to comment down below. I'd love to clarify if I get to reading your comments. Let's keep exploring what we can learn from these fantastic performers. Performance-wise, what can we learn from Dimash today? We can learn that even when there's this huge coliseum, people might not be looking directly at our face, and the focus isn't necessarily on us. We have these people walking with this white flag thing, that it's still really important to stay engaged, to be telling a story, to show the emotions on our face and feel it in our body, and to still be super expressive. Because yes, people can still see and interpret microgestures from a long ways off, but also because it does affect our sound and the sounds that we make. We can't totally separate the sounds we're making from what we're doing with our face and our body. In your practicing and performing today, make sure that as you're singing, that you are allowing yourself the ability to be expressive, to tap into the emotion. Don't just get stuck in your brain in technique land. Make sure that you're tying your technique to context, to emotion, and to what the character is trying to say. If you want a voice lesson, a performance coaching, or want me to work with you or your group to help you sing easier or perform at a consistently higher level, book a time with me at mrperformingartstudio.com. I look forward to working with you online.